Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rizqi maftuhah. I will explain about the reason for teaching speaking and speaking sequence. Here, I have 3 reasons for teaching speaking. Firstly is speaking activities provide rehearsal opportunities to change to practice real life speaking in the safety of the classroom. Jadi berbicara itu merupakan kegiatan memberikan kesempatan latihan, kesempatan untuk berlatih berbicara di kehidupan nyata, di mana di sini itu kesempatan itu berada di dalam kelas. Secondly, speaking task in which students try to use any or all of the language they know provide feedback for both teacher and students. Nah, di sini semua orang bisa melihat seberapa baik mereka melakukan kegiatan speaking ini, seberapa sukses mereka melakukan kegiatan ini, dan juga masalah bahasa apa yang mereka alami. Di sini siswa memiliki kesempatan untuk mengaktifkan berbagai elemen yang mereka punyai, yang ada di otak mereka. Nah, di sini mereka akan berbicara secara spontan. Thirdly is students are using any and all of the language at their command to achieve some kind of purpose which is not purely linguistic. Nah, di sini siswa menggunakan salah satu dan semua bahasa sesuai perintah untuk mencapai beberapa jenis tujuan yang tidak murni dari linguistik ini. Nah, okay, next is speaking sequence. Nah, dari 3 alasan tadi itu kita menggunakan tugas berbicara untuk sebuah keterampilan. Karena berawal dari berbicara, kita bisa mengembangkan pembicaraan kita ini menjadi sebuah teks atau menjadi keterampilan-keterampilan lain. Nah, sebagai contoh, di dalam kelas itu guru membuat sebuah bayangan tentang kompetisi fotografi. Kegiatan ini dimulai saat para siswa yang bekerja dalam kelompok disuruh menjadi lomba juri fotografi yang gambarnya semua laki-laki. Nah, sebelum mereka melihat 4 finalis, mereka harus memutuskan kriteria mana yang akan mereka gunakan untuk membuat seleksi. Jadi dalam kompetisi ini semua siswa itu mempunyai kriteria masing-masing. Nah, kemudian para siswa ini ditunjukkan dengan gambar 4 finalis ini. Nah, dalam kompetisi ini siswa harus memilih pemenang di antara 4 gambar ini, tetapi mereka harus memilih pemenang dari beberapa kriteria yang telah mereka tentukan sebelumnya, bukan dari pandangan di mana mereka menganggap ini bagus, ini cantik gitu, tapi harus sesuai dengan kriteria yang telah mereka buat. Nah, terakhir mereka harus melaporkan pilihan mereka dan mengatakan dengan tepat mengapa mereka memilihnya. Kriteria mana yang membuat mereka memilih satu di antara yang lain. Nah, kegiatan berbicara ini berhasil karena siswa mengaktifkan semua bahasa yang mereka ketahui untuk berbicara tentang sesuatu selain belajar bahasa Inggris. Mereka memiliki tujuan berbicara, merancang kriteria, dan membuat pilihan. Bermain peran, mohon maaf. Yang kedua ada bermain peran. Mohon maaf. Kegiatan yang kedua adalah role play. Nah, di sini ketika siswa bermain peran dalam kelompoknya, siswa mendiskusikan peran apa yang akan mereka mainkan. Nah, jenis pertanyaan apa yang akan mereka diskusikan, tentang apa yang cenderung dilakukan atau dikatakan oleh orang lain dalam situasi ini. Nah, saat mereka melakukan, guru berkeliling untuk mencari jawaban atas keraguan-keraguan yang dimiliki siswa dan memberi mereka pengertian atau memberi mereka jawaban tentang apa yang mereka bingungkan. Nah, sekarang siswa ditugaskan ke kelompok baru seperti 2 petugas polisi, seorang pengacara, dan orang tua, dan permainan peran dimulai. Guru pergi dari kelompok ke kelompok, membantu dan mencatat, meletakkan bahasa apapun yang perlu dikomentari. Ketika kegiatan selesai, guru memberitahu kelas apa yang telah dia saksikan dan menebus kesalahan yang terus-menerus terjadi selama bermain peran. Variasi dan aktivitas detektif semacam ini adalah permainan alibi. Nah, yang ketiga adalah kegiatan yang the following sequence show how portrait can be used to provoke question and answer that can then develop into very engaging conversation. Nah, di sini urutan berikut menunjukkan bagaimana potret dapat digunakan untuk memancing pertanyaan dan jawaban yang kemudian dapat berkembang menjadi percakapan yang sangat menarik. Jumlah percakapan tentu saja akan bergantung pada sebagian besar tingkat siswa. Di tingkat yang lebih rendah mereka mungkin mengajukan pertanyaan seperti berapa umurmu atau di mana tempat tinggalmu untuk orang-orang yang ada di potret. Sedangkan pada pertanyaan dan jawaban tingkat yang lebih tinggi mungkin jauh lebih kompleks. Nah, kegiatan seperti ini berjalan baik dengan anak-anak dan orang dewasa. Jadi, kegiatan ini bukan hanya efektif untuk anak-anak, tetapi juga untuk orang dewasa.
My name is Nurul, badiyah. I want to explain about discussion. Spontaneous conversation of this type can be rare, yet discussion, whether spontaneous or planned, has the great advantage of provoking fluent language use. As a result, most a teacher would like to organize discussion session on a more formal basis. Many of them find, however, that planned discussion sessions are less successful than they had hoped. Sometimes we should always remember is that people need to assemble their thoughts before any discussion. After all, it is challenging to have to give immediate and articulate opinion in our own language. Let alone in language we are starting to learn. Consequently, it is important to give a student pre-discussion result time. Percakapan spontan itu jarang dilakukan, namun memiliki keuntungan untuk memancing penggunaan bahasa yang fasih. Sebagian guru mengatur sesi diskusi itu dengan formal, namun tidak sesuai dengan yang diharapkan. Oleh karena itu, penting memberikan waktu latihan sebelum diskusi kepada siswa. For example, we can put them in small focus groups to explore the discussion topic before organizing a discussion with the whole class. On a more formal basis, we can put students into opposing group and give them quite a lot of time for one group to prepare argument against a preposition, while the other assembles argument in favor. For example, give them card containing brief statement or argument about the topic. Or we can make the discussion at the end of a lengthy process. We can get students to write statements such as football is a men's game, so that they represent the group's opinion, and when students are speaking, we can group and encourage them by suggesting things they can say in order to pause the discussion long. More speaking suggestion. For following activities are also helpful in quitting students to practice speaking as a skill. Although they are not level specific, the last therefore they will be more successful with higher level students. Upper intermediate plus whereas the first two in particular are highly appropriate at lower levels with more but also be used satisfactorily with more advanced class 1 information cap activities and inference get is where the speaker have different bit of information and they can only complete the whole picture by sharing that information because they have different information there is gap between them. Number two, telling stories. We spend a lot of our time telling other people stories and anecdote about what happened to us and other people. Students need to be able to tell story in English too. Number three, favorite object. A variation on getting students to tell personal story is an activity is which students are asked to talk about their favorite object. Example: clothes, instrument, value, picture. Number formatting and creating. Student role play a formal or business social equation where they meet a number of people and introduce themselves. Number five, surveys. Surveys can be used to get students interviewing each other. For example, they can design a questionnaire about people's sleeping habit with questions like how many hours do you normally sleep? They then go around and class asking each other their questions. And number six, famous people. A student think of 5 famous people. They have to decide on the perfect gift for each person. We can also get a group of students to decide on with 5 famous people they would like to invite for dinner. They would talk about the one food they would time to. Number 7, student presentation. Individual student give a talk on a given topic or person. In order for the words for the individual, time must be given for the student to gather information and structure is accordingly. Number 8, balloon path. A group of students are in the basket of a balloon which is losing air. Only one person can stay in the balloon and survive. Individual student representing famous character or profession. Profession have to argue why they should be allowed to survive. Number 9, modal dilemma. Students are present with a formal dilemma and asked to come to decision about how to resolve it. For example, they are told that a student can be cheating in a important exam.
My name is Dewi Sulistiawati. Here I will explain about correcting speaking and what teachers do during a speaking activity. Correction is part of the teaching or learning process. When students are repeating sentences trying to get their pronunciation exactly right, then the teacher will often correct every time there is a problem. Everyone makes mistakes. Even speakers using their own language when they are hurried ketika mereka terburu-buru, lost for words, or forced into inappropriate language by a difficult or unusual situation. It is hardly surprising that the language learners make mistakes. Given the difficulty of the task of comprehending, processing the content of the message and the knowledge of the target language, and coming out with a response that is both grammatically correct and appropriate to the situation. But if the teacher did overcorrection, and poor correction can be demotivating for the learner and may lead to a reluctance to try out new language or even to speak at all. Jadi koreksi yang berlebihan dan koreksi yang buruk itu dapat menurunkan motivasi pelajar dan dapat menyebabkan siswa ini tidak mau untuk mencoba bahasa baru, bahkan untuk berbicara sekalipun. The example, if the students were involved in discussion about whether smoking should be banned on tourist beach, just at the moment one of the students is making an important point, the teacher say, "Hey, wait, you said is, but it should be are, beaches are blah blah blah," repeat. The point will quickly be lost, and the effect might well be to destroy the conversational flow. It is this constant interruption from the teacher will destroy the purpose of the student's speaking activity. Many teachers watch and listen while speaking activities are taking place. They note down things that seems to go well and times when students could not make themselves understood or made important mistakes. When the activity has finished, teachers then ask the students how they thought it went before giving their own feedback. Teachers may say that they like the way students A said this, and the way students B was able to disagree with her. Teachers will then say that they did hear one or two mistakes, and they can either discuss them in the class, write them on the board, or give them individually to the students concerned. In each case, teachers will ask the students to see if they can identify the problem and correct it. Well, what should we do as a teacher to correct speaking for students, but not overcorrection and poor correction? The best way of correcting speaking activities appropriately is to talk to students about it. You as a teacher need to make informed decisions about what, when, and how to correct in order to help learners improve their speaking skills without damaging their confidence. There are some students who prefer to be told exactly the moment they make a mistake. But we as teachers always have to be careful to make sure that our actions do not compromise the activity in question. What teachers do during a speaking activity? There are some teachers get very involved with their students during a speaking activity and want to participate in the activity themselves. There is not wrong with teachers getting involved, provided they don't start to dominate. Although it is probably better to stand back so that you can watch and listen to what is going on. Students can also appropriate teacher participation at the appropriate level. In other words, not too much. Sometimes teachers will have to intervene in some way if the activity is not going smoothly. So, the important point is that prompting is often necessary, but as with correction, teachers should do it sympathetically and sensitively. Okay, I think enough for me. I hope it is clear. Thank you for listening to our explanation.